Announcing the commencement of the first purge.
I want you to change the world, and don't think that this is going to happen peacefully or you can do it alone. We need to kill the rich. You get out there, you use your weapons, and you rip Washington apart. You hunt down the billionaires, the bank bosses, the CEOs, the scumbags and the liars, the governors, the lobbyists, the senators, because they're all the same, and you hang them.
Just remember all the good the purge does.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's July 15th, 2018. I'm Eric. So, right now, we are experiencing somewhat of a trend of Democrats jumping ship and going to the right, to the Republicans. And I'm here to tell you that neither of these parties are worth a shit. Now, people love to praise individuals like Ronald Reagan, but Reagan is as much of a tyrant as any of the others. So, now this issue on immigration, where conservatives pretend as if they are outraged by these individuals coming into our country illegally. However, the truth of the matter is, they grant asylum or amnesty to these immigrants as well. They say one thing, that they are opposed to this immigration, but in reality, their actions demonstrate an entirely different attitude. Okay, so conservatives have done nothing on the immigration issue. It's always the same. Republicans here allow amnesty repeatedly, and again, Ronald Reagan being among them, Bush, and so on and so forth. People, you would like to believe that these guillotines and hydrogen cyanide, 5,000 gallons of it, are for these immigrants. I've talked to other people in person, and the first thing they said was, well, they're for the immigrants. As if that would be okay. Oh, they're for the immigrants, not for us. But that's backwards. That's wrong. So, people think that the cyanide gas and guillotines are going to be used on immigrants being detained. But they're not for the immigrants. They're for us. The immigrants are our replacements. Now, I strongly urge all of you to abandon your belief in the two-party system, because it is nothing but a fraud. Even the election of Donald Trump was a fraud. Even with all that overwhelming support by, so-called alternative media, it was the Alex Jones and the Mike Adams and, what's that fucker's name? Savage, Michael Savage. these people who got Trump the votes, but it was not that he was voted into office. He was selected. Okay? He was selected by the bankers. That's who determines the presidents. Not you, the American people. Bankers. Foreign bankers. So here I am. I just typed in the term, Trump pardons 5 mega banks for corruption charges. And they were corrupt as could be. They still are. So, and this happened during the holidays. While Americans celebrated the holidays, President Trump followed in the footsteps of his predecessors by acting in the interests of Wall Street and using the distraction to do something that was not in the best interest of the American people. He pardoned 5 mega banks for rampant fraud and corruption, which is especially notable because of the amount of money he owes them. Quit being naive. And if you think the Republicans are so much more moral than the Democrats, you have another thing coming. Now, this is a list of Republican convicted pedophiles. List of federal politicians convicted of crimes. I'm sorry, it wasn't just pedophilia. It was I have a different tab open for that one. Now, currently in Donald Trump's presidency and his people, in the executive branch, Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, I'm not sure what the D means, perhaps Democrat, probably, yeah, Democrat. His national security advisor pled guilty to lying to the FBI. Not really a big crime there, but still. Legislative branch. Steve Stockman, Republican of Texas, was convicted of fraud, 2018. Anthony Weiner, Democrat, New York, was convicted of sending sexually explicit photos of himself to a 15-year-old girl and was made to sign a sexual offenders registry. Corrine Brown, Democrat, Florida, was convicted on 18 felony counts of wire and tax fraud, conspiracy, lying to federal investigators, and other corruption charges. Greg Gainfort, Republican from Montana, I believe, pled guilty to charges of assault. And that's just so far in Donald Trump's. And there are many, many more. Democrats, Republicans, they are all criminals, people. And I'm not talking about drug offenses or weapons charges, because I don't consider those crimes. We're talking about crimes where there are actual victims. Okay? And this one is who has more sex offenders, Republicans or Democrats? Of course, the answer I will give to you right off the bat. It is Democrats who have more sex offenders, but nonetheless, people like to pretend like these Republicans, because they hide behind the cross, the veil of Christianity, that they're so much more moral and stable and good for this country and good for the people, and they're not. They are frauds. They are disgusting, fucking, pervert frauds who steal money, labor, dignity, and everything else from the American people, whether you be white, black, or otherwise. So, I won't go over the whole list because it is quite extensive. Okay? All the links will be in the description box. And I really hope you give me a share, especially a share, a thumbs up. And if I am worthy of your spare change, my PayPal link is in the description box below. Also, subscribing. So, Republican County Constable Larry Dale Floyd was arrested on suspicion of soliciting sex with an 8-year-old girl. Floyd has repeatedly won elections for Denton County, Texas Constable. And by the way, all you people voting for this motherfucker over and over and over again are just as guilty as he is. Republican Judge Mark Ponanich pled no contest to fondling a 10-year-old girl and was sentenced to 10 years probation. Of course, he won't do hardly any of that probation time. He will end up getting off probation in probably 3 years. And I'm not going to even mention the Democrat pedophiles, okay, because there's no question that the Democratic Party and the progressives are filled to overflowing with degenerate fucking pedophile scum. There's no question about that. Okay? But since people like to pretend that the conservatives are any better, that's what I'm focusing on. I am strongly encouraging all you people out there who have jumped ship from the Democratic Party to turn your back on the entire system. All of it. And destroy it. Republican Party leader Bobby Stumbo was arrested for having sex with a 5-year-old boy. I've got to wonder, is some president going to come along and pardon some of these guys? I would venture to say probably so. I mean, after all, Donald Trump has taken the same rides on the Lolita Express as Bill Clinton, as Kevin Spacey. Maybe not as many, but he has. Republican teacher and former city councilman John Collins pled guilty to sexually molesting a 13 and 14-year-old girls. Republican campaign worker Mark Seidensticker is a convicted child molester. Republican Mayor Philip Gardino is serving a 37-year sentence in federal prison for sexually abusing 8 and 10-year-old girls. Republican Mayor John Gosek was arrested on charges of soliciting sex from a 15-year-old girl, or from 2 15-year-old girls. Republican County Commissioner Dave Schwartz pled guilty to molesting 2 girls under the age of 11 and was sentenced to 8 years in prison. Republican legislator Addison Misla I can't pronounce it, was sentenced to 10 years in prison for raping his daughter between the ages of 9 and 17. These are your moral Christians here, people. Your moral Christians. This is your morality. These are the people you keep putting in power. Republican committeeman John R. Curtin was charged with molesting a teenage boy and unlawful sexual contact with a minor. Republican anti-abortion activist Howard Scott Heldreth is a convicted child rapist in Florida. Republican zoning supervisor, Boy Scout leader, and Lutheran Church president Dennis L. Rader pled guilty to performing sexual acts on a 11-year-old girl he murdered. Republican anti-abortion activist Nicholas Morency pled guilty to possessing child pornography on his computer and offering a bounty to anyone who murdered an anti-abortion doctor. Republican campaign consultant Tom Shortridge was sentenced to 3 years probation for taking nude photographs of a 15-year-old girl. Republican racist pedophile and United States Senator Strom Thurmond had sex with a 15-year-old black girl, which produced a child. Republican pastor Mike Hintz, whom George W. Bush commended during the 2004 presidential campaign, surrendered to police after admitting to a sexual affair with a female juvenile. Republican legislator Peter Dibble pled no contest to having an inappropriate relationship with a 13-year-old girl. Republican advertising consultant Carrie Lee Kramer was charged with molesting his 9-year-old stepdaughter after including her in an anti-Gore television commercial. Republican activist Lawrence E. King Jr. organized child sex parties at the White House during the 1980s. Republican lobbyist Craig J. Spence organized child sex parties at the White House during the 1980s. Republican Congressman Donald Buzz Lukens was found guilty of having sex with a female minor and sentenced to 1 month in jail. Republican fundraiser Richard A. Delgado was found guilty of child porn charges and paying 2 teenage girls to pose for sexual photos. Republican activist Mark A. Gretchen convicted on 6 counts of sex crimes involving children. Republican activist Randall Davis, or David Anke, pled guilty to attempted sexual assault on a child. Republican Congressman Dan Crane had sex with a female minor working as a congressional page. Republican activist and Christian Coalition leader Beverly Russell admitted to incestuous relationship with his stepdaughter. Republican Judge Ronald C. Klein was placed under house arrest for child molestation and possession of child pornography. Republican Congressman and anti-gay activist Robert Bauman was charged with having sex with a 16-year-old boy he picked up at a gay bar. Republican Committee Chairman Jeffrey Patty was arrested for distributing a video clip of a 5-year-old girl being raped. Republican activist Marty Glickman, aka Republican Marty, was taken into custody by Florida police on 4 counts of unlawful sexual activity with an underage girl and 1 count of delivering the drug LSD. Republican legislative aide Howard L. Brooks was charged with molesting a 12-year-old boy and possession of child pornography. Republican Senate candidate John Hathaway was accused of having sex with his 12-year-old babysitter and withdrew his candidacy after the allegations were reported in the media. Republican preacher Stephen White, who demanded a return to traditional values, was sentenced to jail after offering $20 to a 14-year-old boy for permission to give him oral sex. Republican talk show host John Matthews pled guilty to exposing his genitals to a 11-year-old girl. Republican anti-gay activist Earl Butch Kimmerling was sentenced to 40 years in prison for molesting an 8-year-old girl after he attempted to stop a gay couple from adopting her. Republican election board official Kevin Cohn was sentenced to 2 years probation for soliciting sex over the internet from a 14-year-old girl. Republican politician Andrew Burr was charged with 2 counts of first-degree sodomy with a 13-year-old boy. Okay? Those were all Republicans and their sex charges. And there's more. I mean, lots more. Lots and lots and lots more. This list goes on and on and on and on. Now, I bet I can type in the search engine a list of government officials who are convicted of felonies. List of government officials convicted of pedophilia of some sort. But these Republicans, these so-called Christians, they're so much better, aren't they, than the libtards, right? I mean, they're so much more moral. They have traditional values, and they want everyone's children to get a great education, and they just believe in self-accountability and all that conservative bullshit that people spout. People like, oh, I don't know, Alex Jones. People like, what's that chick's name that I talked about the other day? It's a pretty good looking chick, but she's fucking stupid. Or how about people like Ben Shapiro? But, you know, they're so much better than the Democrats. Right? They are strong, moral, upstanding, law-abiding citizens. Right? So, do you think that people who have these kinds of problems have any fucking business ruling over anyone else? I mean, we can go all the way down to the local politicians. We can go all the way down to your local police department, and you'll find crime after crime after crime. And you know what? These are just the ones that people were convicted of. What about the ones that have gone unreported? I bet there's lots of them. So, and there's more. I mean, there's more. Lots and lots more. Okay. These people, both sides, Democrats, Republicans, they're guilty of war crimes. You know, like the Clinton administration, who was responsible for killing 500,000 children in Iraq. 500,000 children. Don't you think that's a lot? Don't you think maybe that's excessive? I mean, they're children, right? Not adults, children. And, of course, Madeleine Albright, in all of her disgustingness, said, so, exactly what is it that makes you political sycophants forget about the crimes of your candidate? It happens to every single candidate. Every single one. When Barack Obama was in office, his sycophantic followers, they ignored his evil doings. Things that were opposite to what he campaigned on. And now we have the same thing going on with Donald Trump. His sycophantic followers won't call him out on his broken promises, on his deceptions, on his anything. Won't call him out about the Lolita Express. Won't call him out about having respect for the Weinstein scum who owns that fucking island and jet. Come to my side. Come to my side. My side. We practice what we preach. My side. Not everything under the sun is a crime. On my side, only violent people, only sex offenders, only people who actually have victims attached to their crime would be punished. On my side, things would be a whole lot better than they are now. And when I say my side, I really mean the moral side, the side that is correct, the side that thinks child molesters should be hanged right away, the side that thinks that these corrupt mega banks and the Federal Reserve needs to be destroyed. You know, that side. Join the real resistance. Because Alex Jones, Mike Adams, Michael Savage, Watson, none of these people are the resistance. The resistance is you. The resistance is me. Join me. Give me a thumbs up. Reach out to me through the email. Hit me up on Facebook and Twitter. I'm here for you. And I'm here to stand with you. Hope you all have a good day. Remember, kill the state before the state kills you.
I keep my head up, and you will end this.
I'm just getting warmed up. This is von Clausewitz shit. Total fucking war. I'm gonna pull the whole thing down. I'm gonna bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gonna be biblical.